If you're the parent of a youth softball player, please do not just copy the mechanics of an NCAA power hitter and try to teach them to your daughter unless they check off the 3 boxes we're going to talk about in this video. Because here's the mistake most people make. They'll watch a hitter like Megan Grant, for example, hitting absolute nukes this year, doing awesome, and assume the swing mechanics themselves are the reason she has power. But Megan Grant is also a really strong 5'10" athlete, and what most parents don't realize is hitters with that kind of size and strength can sometimes get away with the movement patterns that smaller hitters simply can't get away with because they already have enough natural force and production like built into their body just with how big and strong that they are. So they don't need their swing to be quite as efficient to still hit balls hard. But if your daughter is more undersized, like my daughter, for example, there are actually 3 really common traits that you'll see in undersized kids that still hit for a lot of power in softball, and those are the ones you're going to want to emulate. So in this video, I want to break down Megan Grant's swing and show you frame by frame how I would look at it to see if the mechanics she's using are something that you would want your daughter to use too. So now let's dive in and let me show you 3 things that I would strongly recommend that you guys make sure that any hitter you want your daughters to emulate is doing, especially if you're not going to be as big as them, okay? So when we're looking at the first thing, what I like to look at is this hip, okay? And so we will, what you want to see is you want to see it loading. So you see how it counter rotates right there? It's in the act of coiling back and towards the catcher. This is something that a lot of softball coaches tell kids not to do, and it easily costs 1 to 3 miles an hour in bat speed every time that we help a hitter do this. That's something that you 100% want to make sure that she's doing. So love that Megan is doing this. I think that that's a thing that a lot of big, like if you're Samoan, for example, you might not have to do this because you're just strong enough. And there's examples of hitters in the NCAA that don't have to. And I'm not saying they need to change. They've optimized for the game and their bodies, and that's totally fine. I'm just saying if you're a small person, you might not want to hit like big people can hit, okay? Thing number 2. When she strides forward, I want to see, is there some sort of stride? And you do see that she has some sort of forward move. A lot of hitters, so she has a forward move right here where she is actually striding. It's a small stride, it's not a big stride, but it is a stride. So a lot of times people will see these big hitters like, oh, look, there's no stride. And you'll hear on the ESPN, they'll say, oh, it's just so simple and so clean. I love how short to the ball they are. And it's like, okay, but there's plenty of examples. If you were to go look in the big leagues of and look at all the men that hit, there's plenty of examples of people that have big strides, short strides. Like there's lots of different strides that you can use. But the people that use no stride with less than 2 strikes that have like successful long careers are not small people. They're big people like Albert Pujols or Jeff Bagwell's or those kind of people. And so if your daughter's undersized, I would 100% make sure that she is using some sort of a stride. Again, if you want to get to 2 strikes and do something else, that would be something different. And then the most important for me is we want to look at are her hands in the act of going up while this hip is opening, okay? So right as her toe is going to touch the ground. So let's take a look at this. We'll try to see if we can get this a little bit closer. And you see her hands are in the act of going up right there. Up, up. And the toe, the foot is in the ground while the hands are going up. And then what happens is her hands are still up as her pelvis starts to rotate open. So her pelvis starts to rotate open. Her hands are still staying up. And now what's happening is the body has something called fascial lines. They run up your legs, hit your torso, and they cross over. And they actually do it with both legs, but and cross your torso. But what happens is when you stretch these tissues right before you fire them, you're able to become way more explosive. And so that's what Megan is doing here, is she is getting a fantastic stretch of those tissues. And so she is getting a check on a positive pass for me on a swing here, that if you've got an undersized girl and she's a fan of Megan Grant, I'd 100% be okay with teaching what Megan is doing here. And for this last move, if you would like my favorite drill for teaching this that has really helped my undersized kids develop elite power because of this hands going up and getting that stretch, if you check out this video right here, we have a full detailed breakdown of a tutorial of my favorite drill that is really, really incredibly effective at training this move that we see Megan doing.